It's edging ever closer, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News at the Stamford Bridge Studios. We discuss Pochettino on the cusp of becoming the new Chelsea manager. Heck, it might even be announced today if they can get the final details of the deal hashed out. But it is seemingly the case that Pochettino is the Chelsea manager for next season. He will start in this summer and not now, which is preferable for all parties, I think, and gives him some time to analyse from afar. Today, on today's video, we are discussing what he is, what he will bring, why he is coming, and what his ideas are. We're going to reference an article from The Guardian by David Heitner, as well as speaking on what Guillaume Balaguer, Spanish football expert, has said on the matter. Thank you for joining me. I am making content constantly at the moment. I'm averaging about 2 videos a day, so consider subscribing and turning the bell notifications icon on if you want to keep up with the content, and if you appreciate it, then please do consider dropping a like. It takes a second. Guillaume Balaguer on Twitter saying Chelsea gets a hungry manager in Mauricio Pochettino, who have analysed to the detail the rights and wrongs of his jobs. Although you could say this about any coach, who will now have more control than the first time he was offered the job by Bowling, and he was rejected by Poch then. So now he's in a stronger negotiating position, Pochettino, and who arrives at Stamford Bridge at the right time, when direction and criteria are needed. Well, that's a glass half full perspective, Balaguer. But it's true. There is raw material. We've been rattled down to our foundations and rattled down the Premier League table to the point where everything needs to be rebuilt. The culture, the tactics, the squad, the philosophy, and indeed the vibes. We have no vibes. Before we talk about what this article on The Guardian is saying and gives us a bigger lowdown, I've got no issue with him being the ex-Tottenham manager, and throughout this video we'll speculate on positives and things that he could bring, but little things like, I'm thinking like Kai Havertz in the Dele Alli role. That is his role, Kai Havertz. That's what he does for Germany. It's what he's been best playing. Yes, that role's a little bit dead in the Premier League, but Dele Alli scored like 17 Prem goals, got a bunch of assists in that season. And, Harry Kane, one of the top 3 all-round forwards, if you're not just looking at straight-up goal machine like Haaland. If you're talking about a number 10, a presser, a finisher, an assister, a playmaker forward, Harry Kane is an all-rounder. He was nurtured and developed by Pochettino. Could I put in one order? I would like a Harry Kane, but made from the raw materials of an Armando Broja. Can I have that, please? Think of how he developed Christian Eriksen into a really creative machine, and opening, of course, his countryman Enzo Fernandez is our record signing. Argentina brethren, he'll be happy about that. There's a few things to be happy about and think of. Don't think about the Spurs connection. That's my advice. Apart from maybe enjoying the fact how Spurs fans will be upset about it, because football's about rivalries and that's how it goes. Anyway, let's find out what they're saying on The Guardian. Let's get some insight on Chelsea's almost certain new gaffer and move on. Ruthless Pochettino is a perfect fit to unite Chelsea for a new era. Wow. Bold claims. So, Chelsea need a big name manager. We couldn't find one, so we're going for Pochettino. Lol, joking. An ultra charismatic type who can look after the egos of superstar players and also develop the younger ones, offering encouragement to them. They need somebody with an inside-out knowledge of the Premier League who knows London. Why do they need to know London? And they need someone to reshape the squad, to trim the fat, who actively prefers to work with a streamlined first-team group. Now, it's really not difficult to see the attraction of Mauricio Pochettino, who is not the club's new manager yet, but is getting close to the job, and feels appropriate to wonder what the future at Stamford Bridge would look like with him at its centre. Even to overlook the disclaimer that relates to how quickly things can change in football, how anything can happen, particularly at Chelsea under the charge of Todd Boehly and Badad Eghbali. True, it's almost like, you know, nothing shocks you anymore, although maybe success would shock you at this point. The Roman era would dictate disaster or success. Nothing would shock you. That's how we ring. But the success, I feel like, has sort of gone a little bit. But, you know, it's there to be taken. The players, the ambition, the footballing infrastructure. It's there. The Chelsea owners have applied the charm in recent days. Pochi! Woo! Seeking to reassure Pochettino and presumably make it clear that they are not the kind of guys whose idea it is to burn through 2 permanent managers and 2 caretakers in one season, to fling around eye-watering sums in the transfer market without a guiding principle. Yeah. Yeah. And they must have had a long conversation to convince him otherwise, one would imagine. But for all the chaos of their tenure so far with the team, here's that word. Are you ready for that word? Languishing 11th in the table, out of the cups as well. It's easy to see why Pochettino. It is easy to see why Pochettino has been charmed. Is it? Why his positive energy is surging as what's to be expected to come. Right. But I don't understand that. Let's move on. Every manager knows the clubs almost always turn to them because it's not worked out in the previous season. They arrive in times of crisis. Yeah, they do. They do arrive in times of crisis, except when Roberto De Zerbi just rocks up at a really well-functioning Brighton side and just says thank you very much. But to his credit, De Zerbi, he's like on multiple occasions says, yeah, this is brilliant. You know, Poz has set this up amazingly for me to succeed. And, you know, he's doing great work on top of that. And Pochettino has to see a parallel with his appointment by Tottenham in May 2014 after his 18 months at Southampton. Right, relevant. Back then, Spurs looked broken, scorched by Tim Sherwood's tenure. The confidence was on the floor. The squad needed a rebuild. Sounds familiar? Well, we've got the raw materials, but, you know, trimming the fat is absolutely an appropriate term here. And on a budget too. Well, we've got a budget. What they needed, as Chelsea do now, was somebody to be ruthless, to move on the underachieving regulars, creating pathways from within, and to convince the mainstays, Lloris, for example, that he can basically stay and push on. Pochettino turned him into one of his key lieutenants. He will need lieutenants at Chelsea. We need any and all kind of authority at Chelsea. Pochettino's success at Spurs, came from a low base. He would work remorselessly to build the players' fitness and belief. And the thing to say about Chelsea's squad is the starting levels are rather higher, despite the embarrassment of the league position. True, but it's been referenced and reported that Chelsea's fitness is low. Spurs were proper up and at him. That his Spurs anyway. That would be nice when he's get like maybe the slightly more cultured and technical players more fit and get them like relentless, confidence high. And it's been reported that he will try and make a more solidified starting 11. Do you know what I mean? Like really like which we need, man. That's just what we need massively. When Pochettino analyses it, he'll probably see 2 areas to upgrade. As will many of you, ladies and gentlemen, a goalkeeper and a centre forward. Kepa Arrizabalaga is not always convinced. True. Aubameyang, yeah, he's gone to Barca, isn't he? But in all other areas, there's a type of players Pochettino would relish working with, including the senior figures such as Thiago Silva and N'Golo Kante. And there's the younger ones, the Reece James, the Wesley Fofana, his countrymen, of course, Enzo Fernandez and Kai Havertz. Plus those fighting to break through, including Noni Madueke, Carney Chukwuemeka, Conor Gallagher. Feels like a prototype Pochettino player, like Conor Gallagher does, but I feel like he will, I feel like he will probably be sold, Conor Gallagher. He does look useful. He has looked useful recently. I know people like to laugh at him just being like a cardio dude, but he is a great player, and he does feel like a Pochettino player. There's much talent in midfield, even if Mason Mount were to leave and Pochettino would back himself to bring it all together, relying on the human touch that has been the motive of his career. Before we read on and talk about that, I think Mason Mount stays because there's reports suggesting that he will be tasked to rebuilding the Chelsea culture and the homegrown players. And yes, of course, Carney, Chukwuemeka, and Conor Gallagher and all that, fit the bill. But I think Mason Mount could do excellent under Pochettino, personally. And of course, there are recent reports also saying that there's nearly a compromise with Mount and Chelsea, not one that fits both their needs, but maybe a 1 or 2 year extension, like saying, look, pay me X amount for 1 or 2 years, I'll stay and we'll see if we can work this out, in the long term. But, just to sort of, so you don't have to sell me in the summer sort of thing. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, you know me, guys, I love Mason Mount. I think he's an excellent player. Because I love Chelsea and Chelsea's culture, I think he's so important. But if he goes, whatever. The club will remain. Anyway, let's find out more about Poch and read some of the stories, man. Everybody can tell or has told stories. This is weird writing of Pochettino's inclusivity, how he strives to make every member of staff and not just the players feel part of the wider community at the club. That's nice, but yeah, okay, fine. Here's another Bonfire Night 2017 flashback. At Spurs, and Pochettino gets everyone together for a barbecue, players, their families, staff and their families too. The person flipping the burgers on the grill wears a cap and regular clothes, head down as he concentrates, and nobody really notices him until they go for their food. When he looks up, hey look, it's the gaffer, it's Pochettino flipping burgers. He loves to put himself at the heart of things, to be hands-on, together with his assistants, Jesus Perez, Miguel D'Agostino, Tony Jimenez, and Pochettino's son, Sebastiano. Oh, I didn't know that was his son. To watch academy games, to connect with his club. That's nice. So those guys are all apparently coming to Chelsea. If you watch my previous upload referencing Matt Law's piece, we speak about those gang who are coming. The super happy best friends, we called them. They're all apparently coming to Chelsea should this deal get sealed. Pochettino's always been a development coach, which is, yes. I mean, so is Potter, but we're assuming the characters here to take the next step. And also more ruthless. There was a time when it was felt through every England debutant had been one of his at Southampton or Spurs. He makes players better. That's true. Look, out of all of your concerns for Pochettino, and I know loads of proper Chelsea are like really upset about this appointment or potential appointment, but you can't deny he makes players better. Dele Alli's, probably reapplying for college right now. But for a while, he was like one of the most valued youngsters under the world under Pochettino. We've said, what he did with Kane and Eriksen and Lloris for a time, and Danny Rose and Kyle Walker. Where's Danny Rose now? He's doing punditry, dressed as a train driver, saying, "Oh, I wish I had a career." Literally, that's what he's doing. Kyle Walker's winning Premier League after Premier League after Premier League with Man City. Developed under Pochettino, come on! But he knows what it means to compete at the highest level, having managed for 6 consecutive seasons in the Champions League. Oh, really? Really? Were they in the Champions League for 6 consecutive seasons? 1 final, 1 semi-final, 2. That's pretty good. I mean, yeah, I guess one's in PSG as well. To take charge of the Continent's elite clubs at PSG, some top players. So yeah, he's coached top players as well, of course. At the past 2 World Cups, the winning captains and top scorers played their football under Pochettino, Lloris, and Harry Kane, Lionel Messi and Mbappe. Yeah, but come on. The Lionel Messi thing's a bit of a stretch, how long he's played under Pochettino, but I take the point. PSG have the reputation for being impossible to manage. Tuchel did better. But then again, Tuchel's stinking up the gaff now in his home country, so I don't even know anymore. Impossible to manage, and Pochettino did well, as most over his 18 months there. No, he lost the league to Lille, bro. I'm sorry. It is significant that he has retained good relationships with a lot of the players, including Mbappe, Neymar, and Verratti. Oh, imagine if we could sign Verratti. No, stop. We have so many midfielders, Jan. We'll get a CDM, a conventional CDM. We don't need a Verratti type. What a player, though. It is expected to be the summer of change. I can't wait for the summer of change at Chelsea in terms of outs and the playing side, but that would be fine by Pochettino, who also sees no issue in pinching up at one of Spurs' rivals. Yeah. I love that. I don't care about Spurs. Look at Chelsea. Oh, look at all these lovely players at Chelsea. The thing for him is that they are not their most hated rivals, in other words, Arsenal. Yeah, I said that. I've always maintained that. And that's kind of what I'd hoped with Harry Kane. Why Harry Kane might come to Chelsea.
Well, if the old gaffer Poch can go to Chelsea, I guess, yeah, obviously, I go there as well.
Come on, Hazard. Come on. When Pochettino joined Spurs, he was told all about Arsenal. Of course he was. How the derby was one of the circle in the diary. How it was so important to finish above them. Just as he'd never managed Barcelona due to his links in Espanyol, he would never work for Arsenal. That's why everyone thought he was going to go to Real Madrid, because he wouldn't go to Barca. And Real Madrid, you know, Spanish speaking, suits him. Shortly after his departure from Spurs in November 2019, God, it's quite a while ago now, isn't it? Arsenal tried to get him to replace Unai Emery for... I didn't know that. So Arsenal did try to hire him, and it was a non-starter. Okay, shout out, Poch. That's good of you. Chelsea is a different story. It's unlikely that the Spurs support will give him their blessing, of course. Lol. That will have to... the rose petal, like that they will have rose petals for the next meeting. That's fine. The romance would be over. Pochettino is determined to look ahead. Amen. Also, man, look, Daniel Levy hasn't approached Poch. Poch is out of a job. He's not going to Arsenal. Spurs fans, come on, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you've had Conte, you had Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? Just it's not our fault, okay? He's not going to Arsenal. He's not been offered a job back at your gaff. He probably wouldn't want to go, mate, because that is a crap show considering all the stuff with the squad, the Paratici, all that general underperforming and the stench that's going on there. So, you know, he probably wouldn't want to anyway. But Pochettino makes players better, would develop a culture, would be ruthless, and has time to plan. Yeah. Look, I'm not 100% sold. But a week ago, I was close to repelled by the idea. But I'm trying. I'm trying, Ringo, Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction. I'm really trying. I'm trying to see the positives and trust the footballing infrastructure powers that be behind the scenes of Chelsea Football Club, which, by the way, I don't have much reason to trust right now, but I'm trying to trust them that this makes sense. And maybe it does. Even if Pochettino is not going to be managing us in 5 years and winning trophies, if he can make this, whatever this is at the moment, it's Chelsea, cut off the bad apples? Do you cut off bad apples? It depends. Yeah, I suppose if Chelsea's an apple tree and there's bad apples, he'll cut off the bad apples, make the tree smaller, like prune it, make it nicer, make it grow. The analogy's working now. Develop into a little bit more of a pretty tree, and even if the tree is not big enough to like shine above the other trees, he's made it better, and he's been a useful tree gardener. I lost it. Let me know what you think. Please do comment. I love reading your comments. Superb comments. And thank you for liking and subscribing. We will of course react accordingly as things develop here on the channel. Football Therapy. My English words have run out, so make sure you hit the bell when you subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.